I am not a bounty hunter. I've heard otherwise.
If you could call upon the seas to outclean your enemies, would you watch the innocent casualties? I bet you'd be safely at home, shielded from this bloody control, drinking from the power in your hand, soaring through time and space. Cuts the air without a trace. Don't look back to see their face. The killer goes bloody, death from the sky. Whistle of howling wind sings sirens into the night.
What did we just watch? What did we just watch? It was so glorious. Oh, now I am filled with glorious purpose because I have seen the trailer for the Book of Boba Fett. I assume you've all seen it too. I'm not special. We all probably watched it at the same time. And now we rejoice in the glorious splendor that is the trailer for the Book of Boba Fett. And we put it on a loop in our homes over and over again to help us count down the days and tease us with excitement. Well, welcome in. I've already spoiled what this episode's about. This is another bonus edition of Mando Vision. Our Bantha Track specials return with a bit of a reaction and, I don't know, analysis is sort of a strong word, but we're going to talk about some of the stuff we saw in the trailer. My name is Tom. This is the Mando Vision podcast. My good, I'm all over the place today. I'm so excited. I did not expect this trailer to happen today. I thought it was soon, but not today. So I had a nice little bonus waiting for me when I logged on to my when I opened up my web browser on my phone. When I was checking out the social medias. I was like, whoa, what? Oh, whoa, what? Show me that. Play it again. Play it again, and again, and again. You get the idea. I'm losing my marbles over here. I had a blast watching this trailer. So many great, fun things. Doing what it does best. It's getting us hyped up. It's getting us excited. A trailer is designed to get us all fired up and passionate, and this one does it. And we're left with a lot of answers. We get some really great shots, some really great visuals. We see some familiar species from the Star Wars universe, but we still don't know a ton about what's going on there. They're keeping that plot kind of under wraps. But let's, we do have some procedure on this podcast. This is a very informal episode of the show. But in honor of the Book of Boba Fett, before we talk about it any further, it's time. Strap on your buckets. Let's go.
If you had spoken such insolence to Jabba, he'd have fed you to his menagerie.
Please. Speak freely.
Yes, indeed. We couldn't be more excited to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett trailer. Oh, so many times I've watched it already. How many times have you watched it? I don't think I'm quite in double digits, but I'm darn close. And it's only a matter of time before double digits are hit, and it will be glorious. Glorious. One of the things we focus on in this trailer, Boba Fett's done. He looks like he's done a little bit more upkeep on his armor. Things look the gauntlets in particular seem to be a different color than when we last saw them on The Mandalorian in Season 2. But he also looks like there's been a little bit of a time passage between when we last saw him in The Mandalorian and where the show picks up at. Because it looks like maybe he's got, he put that fresh coat of paint on there in Season 2 of Mando. But it looks like maybe he's has some altercations. Now, again, this trailer doesn't show us when and where these things take place. Maybe he gets that battle damage in the course of action on this show. Wild speculation will be the main theme of our little Bantha Tracks episode today, because we don't know anything. We don't know any kind of context for any of the stuff that we saw. But I wanted to talk about just the greatness of it. I mean, how much fun was it to see some of these things that we got to see? Again, Fennec and Boba still working together, still doing their thing. I love seeing them in action. I think Ming-Na Wen and Tamora Morrison are going to have a fantastic time on screen together, and I'm really, really excited to see. Uh, hope that they hopefully let Ming-Na Wen, just get nuts with Fennec Shand, and we get to see some really fun stuff with that character. We've kind of been teased out a little bit over the course of the Mandalorian, and then even in her appearances in the Bad Batch this season. So I'm really intrigued by the possibilities of Fennec Shand working with Boba Fett as sort of his number one, if you will. Like that idea. Obviously, like we speculated before, Boba Fett trying to sort of become a kingpin here. He's trying to pick up the reins that Jabba left behind, because Bib Fortuna was doing a terrible job at it from what we saw. Didn't seem like he had much of a criminal empire under his rule. And Boba Fett's like, hey, I got a plan, and this is what we're gonna do. And they talk a little bit about that in the trailer, how Jabba ruled through fear, and Boba's gonna try a different way. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I sort of like this idea, this sort of spin on Boba Fett's character. I mean, he says it right at the beginning of the trailer. He's not even a bounty hunter anymore. He's gonna be living that kingpin lifestyle. He wants to be the shot caller, and we're gonna see how effective he is at running a criminal organization of his own. I'm intrigued by this possibility. I'm excited to finally explore the Star Wars underworld. I've been talking to you all about it for years. Since this podcast started, I have said 1,000 times, I want to explore the Star Wars underworld. It is one of my favorite avenues that Star Wars doesn't nearly spend enough time in. But we're finally going to get to do it. You think back to when Lucas originally wanted to do a Star Wars underworld show back in like 2005, and they wrote like 2 years worth of scripts, and it was going to not only show pivotal moments in Star Wars lore, like Han and Chewie winning the Millennium Falcon from Lando. It was going to have all kinds of other stuff going on with it. It sounded like it was just full of potential, but it was ultimately deemed unfilmable, too expensive. The technology wasn't there. So that's how we got other things like Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Rebels and things like that. And we got to go to these places and explore these places via animation. And now the technology's there. Whether it's through all the stuff they pioneered with the Mandalorian or other things, they're able to kind of show us these worlds now. We're going to explore these stories. We're going to see. Again, we're losing Lucas's vision, but Favreau and Filoni have been extremely, beyond capable with what they're doing on The Mandalorian. I believe they are serving as executive producers on the Book of Boba Fett, along with Robert Rodriguez, who seems to be the one setting a lot of the visual tone for this series, and I'm excited by all of that. There's nothing in this trailer that dissuades me from being just beyond enthusiastic about this trailer. Let's talk about the opening, because I was delighted to see a little Bomar monk scrambling over the hillside outside of Jabba's palace, which is a former Bomar monastery that Jabba took over. The Bomar monks, in case you aren't familiar with them, they're monks, to keep it simple. But they don't want to. They want to sever themselves from like the physical world, and so they put their brains in jars, in these like spider-like bodies, so they can better concentrate on enhancing their own mental states without the distraction of the flesh. Pinhead would probably be very into these fellas. And so we saw them, and we saw at least one of them in Return of the Jedi. Whether this is the same one or not, who's to say? His body looks a bit more angular than the one we saw in Jedi, but I was so delighted to see one of these monks still in play, still living its life at the palace, and maybe just going for a nice little stroll. Or did Boba Fett evict the monks? Maybe he's like, I don't like them lurking around. They creep me the F out. I don't know for sure. Another little twist on the Bomar monks, just while we're talking about them, in the old expanded universe, in the old books that don't count anymore, there is a tale, a story. It's from the short story collection Tales from Jabba's Palace. In one of the stories there, Bib Fortuna meets a very different fate than what he gets in the Mandalorian when Boba Fett kills him. Shortly after Jabba's death at the hands of Leia, Luke, and Han, Bib Fortuna returns to the palace thinking he's going to run the show, but instead basically becomes a Bomar monk. His brain gets inserted into one of the brain jars, and he gets to live his life in that spider-like body. and that is Bib Fortuna's fate in the old expanded universe. And you know, I sort of miss it a little bit, but it was still really cool to see him get killed by Boba at the end of season 2. By spoilers, in case you didn't know what was going on there. We also got to see an Ithorian. Now, is this an Ithorian? Is this going to be a rival of Boba Fett's? Is this someone trying to contact or contract with Boba Fett to see if he's still a bounty hunter now? Because maybe he's got a job for him to do. One of the reasons why I'm wondering if that's the case, obviously the opening bits of dialogue from the trailer seem to indicate that there's a bit of confusion over Boba Fett's role in the galaxy right now. He's trying to assert himself as a criminal, as a leader of a criminal organization. So he's stepping away from bounty hunting. But what I'm curious about it, and what I'm wondering what you all think as fellow audience members, does Boba Fett's reputation, has it taken has it been damaged by his absence? Now, we don't know for sure how long he was in the Sarlacc pit, but we know that Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Was he in the Sarlacc pit for... He was in there for X amount of time. We know that. And he was damaged. He's scarred up. And he only recently got his armor back from the Mandalorian in Season 2. So what's his reputation like? Do people still fear Boba Fett the way they did before? Or do they even believe this is the real Boba Fett? So I wonder if those questions will be asked or addressed at all during the course of this series, maybe towards the beginning of the series, or maybe Boba Fett has to take a job for this Ithorian to kind of prove who he is, to assuage the fears of these captains of the Hutt Empire. Of the Hutt criminal empire, I should say. Don't get one empire confused with the other. That's always a bad mistake. But Ithorians are an awesome species. I really enjoy seeing them, and hopefully we'll learn more about this character. I like that he had a bit of a translator thing going on because, I think I would have been disappointed if an Ithorian started speaking Basic. That would have bummed me out. We also get to see some Trandoshan's. We've been seeing them popping up in The Mandalorian. Obviously, our most well-known Trandoshan is Bosk, the bounty hunter from Empire Strikes Back. But they've been showing up on The Mandalorian, probably most notably in Episode 2, when Din Djarin kills several of them as they're attempting to steal the child from him. We also get to see some Aqualish. You remember Ponda Baba? That's who they are. They're usually bad guys in the lore. And that doesn't seem to be changing at all. So nice to see them. More Gamorreans are seen in the background. You love the Gamorrean guards. Come on. We get a shot of some Tusken Raiders in the sand. Always a good time. Twi'leks. We get Twi'leks. Are they dancing girls again? Are we keeping up that sort of mystique that they have on Tatooine as dancers for Jabba and his palace? One of them is being played by Jennifer Beals. So we're very curious if the one played by Jennifer Beals, who you do see in this trailer, will have a more significant role than some of the others maybe in the past. So we're excited to see how that's going to shake out. And there's also some speculation on the internet that Raisal Sant cameos in this trailer, maybe is in the show. She is the band backup singer in Return of the Jedi Special Edition. That's sort of like, Boba Fett, does his little... Let's just say she's captured his attention in the special edition of Return of the Jedi, and maybe they're going to embrace that special edition. That I'm not the world's biggest fan of that new musical number they put into Jabba's palace. Call me a traditionalist, but hey, if they're going to lean into it and bring that character back, why not? Let's see what happens. Let's see what shakes loose. We're going to see some Klatooinians, and I think that's the majority of the species that we saw. Some of the other things we're very curious about is this show staying centered on Tatooine? Are we spending most of our time on Tatooine? There's been, again, the internet seems to be a lot of the internet seems very convinced that we are on Tatooine, like that giant city that we see is just another settlement on Tatooine, a more populous one, perhaps than what we've seen from Mos Eisley and Mos Espa in the past. I don't know. I don't know. It seems likely that we're staying focused on Tatooine. I mean, that is where the heart of Jabba's empire was. His criminal organization was centered on Tatooine. So it makes a certain amount of sense that there might be rivals close by who also are trying to move in before Boba Fett showed up to kill Bib Fortuna. And it's possible Bib Fortuna was somebody else's servant at this point too. Like maybe Boba Fett jumped the gun, if you will. and killed Bib before you maybe should have. That's going to upset somebody, like maybe that Ithorian. Remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. But we're very excited. We saw the ship formerly known as Slave One in this trailer. A lot of speculation that that name has been retired by Disney, and we might get a renaming of Boba's ship in this series. So something else to kind of speculate about and maybe get an answer to when the show drops for us at the end of December. What else is in this trailer? I mean, it's all just really exciting. You get to see some fisticuffs, some standoffs. Boba Fett looking like a total, you know, a BA dude. He looks like I don't like to. He looks like a badass. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. He looks very formidable. The fight scenes look great. I can't wait to see more of the fight scenes. We only got like a little snippet here, a snippet there, but Boba Fett looks ruthless. He looks ruthless, and I love it. I'm here for every second of it, and I want to see Fennec do some awesome stuff too. Can't wait to see what new elements we get to explore in the Star Wars galaxy on this series, and yeah, just really really fun stuff. And man, I want to watch it again. I'm so excited. I'm sure you all are excited, just as excited as I am. I don't have any deep analysis on that trailer. It's just a snippet here, snippet there. It's enough to get us excited, get the blood pumping, and we're ready for it. We're so excited. The Book of Boba Fett coming January, no way. December 29th, 2021. That is how you're going to start your New Year's. And you're going to start your New Year's before New Year's Eve, because you're going to watch that show 8 times like I am. It's going to be so exciting. I can't wait. And the only downside is it means like there's going to be a lot more Boba Fett toys for me to buy. And there will be people that I live with who don't care for that decision. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. I think that's it as far as my speculation, as far as like, trying to pull things from the trailer. I don't want to go too deep on that. Like, we could speculate, like, again, some of these shots, like, oh, where are they walking to? What's that building that they're heading towards? Is that where the Ithorian's at? We could play that game, or we could just wait for the show. I tend to want to wait for the show. But very exciting time. What a great day. If anything new pops up, I'm going to insert it right here. And something new did pop up, so we're back to address it. We don't spend a lot of time on Mandovision dealing with the rumors and innuendos. It's not really my favorite thing to do. It's just sometimes it's much to do about nothing, and so I'd rather let those things kind of sort themselves out. But this rumor is beginning to pick up some momentum, and let's pull on this string a little bit and see where it goes. Is kind of how I'm looking at it. Perhaps you saw it on the internet already. A rumor is hitting the internet claiming that Lucasfilm is developing a Darth Maul focused animated series for Disney Plus. It would follow Maul operating Crimson Dawn in the events prior to Solo, a Star Wars story, and that Paul Bettany is expected to return as Drayden Voss. This is very interesting news. What's even more interesting is the second part of the rumor, which is this series was meant to be live action, but complications caused them to change it to animation. I'm very intrigued by this. I like the idea of another animated series filling in some of the gaps from where we leave Maul at the end of Star Wars The Clone Wars to where we find him at the point of running Crimson Dawn and kind of being almost a prequel to the events of Solo in a sense, but also how it will help to shape this underworld element that we are going to be picking up on Boba Fett too. Crimson Dawn could factor into many of these things. The Boba Fett show in particular, they could still be a presence. In the comic books, they are. And why would the comic books not, or excuse me, why would the creative people not explore that further, potentially in the Boba Fett timeline? I'm very curious about the complications that could have existed with this going from live action to animation. Again, that could mean anything. It could be a behind the scenes thing. It could be a production issue, a budget issue. We don't know. Maybe we'll get more information if this gets confirmed. Again, we are sort of expecting that Disney shareholders meeting to be sort of a font of information, a wealth of knowledge for Star Wars fans, and maybe we'll get some clarity on what this show is and can be, if it's actually even true. So again, take these all with a grain of salt. But again, if we're doing an animated series that follows Darth Maul, I assume we're going to be in the same animation style as we've seen from Clone Wars and from Rebels and from the Bad Batch, which I think would be great. More Sam Witwer back as the voice of Darth Maul, hopefully. That'd be fantastic too. Though, I mean, Sam could have done the voice work, in like an ADR situation for the live action series as well. But you'd have to assume that Sam will come back and do this in animation form for sure. Like, why not? Yeah, I hope we learn more about this. I'm very intrigued by it. I'm very excited by the possibilities of it. And again, show me more of this galactic underworld. I want to know more about it. I want the juicy details. So yeah, let's hope this. I'm hoping this rumor has some truth to it, and hopefully we will get some clarity on that in the very near future. So fingers crossed, because I'm more Star Wars on Disney Plus is never a bad thing, and I have been screaming my ears off. Screaming my ears off. That makes a lot of sense. I've been talking ad nauseum about getting more Star Wars series to explore these nooks and crannies of the galactic underbelly. I've talked about it on prior episodes how I want an underworld show that incorporates all these different characters, that incorporates Han Solo and Chewbacca and Lando and the bounty hunters and the crime guilds and more of this with the smugglers and there's so many fun, interesting elements. It's such a fertile ground to to hoe, if you will, and yeah, it just seems like the opportunity is now. This platform is really giving Star Wars a lot of new alleyways and avenues to explore, which I think is a great thing. And yeah, let's the more the merrier. I'm okay with all of it. A live action show would have been dope, but animation is just fine. I'll take what I can get, and if it's as the same quality as the other animated series that we have, I mean, come on, let's be all in for it. So yeah, yep, take it with a grain of salt. Hopefully we'll get some clarity on this soon, or at the very least it'll be debunked soon. But again, I'm excited by the possibility, so fingers crossed. All right, I think that is it for this Bantha Tracks special bonus episode of Mandovision. My name is Tom, Nargai Tom. I thank you so much for checking out this special bonus episode of the show. I hope my enthusiasm wasn't off-putting earlier today. I'm just fired up. I've watched that trailer a couple more times since I came back to insert this sound clip into the episode. So that might be why you notice a different tone, different modulation in my voice. The timbre is a little different. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyways, let's wrap it up. Let's get out of here. Thanks for being here. If anything breaks in the meantime, we'll be back to talk about it. Otherwise, I'll plan on checking in with everybody on Friday for episode 2 of Star Wars: The Clone Wars rewatch. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. Get ready. All right. This podcast can only end one way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.